Sheesh. Yeah. Everybody want to be in entertainment till it's time to get down to the business. Yeah, Glitz and Ghetto, Glitz and Ghetto, yeah, Glitz and Ghetto, it's Glitz and Ghetto, Glitz and Ghetto, it's Glitz and Ghetto. The Glitz and Glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes it really is ghetto, yeah.
All right, are we here? Are we recording? Is it giving what it was supposed to have gave? All right, let's set this up. And 3, 2. What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Glitz and Ghetto podcast. I'm your host, Naderah, and I'm so excited to be coming to you guys today for our second episode of the month, but it's at the top of April, so April Fools and happy April Fools to y'all too. Either way, let's get some housekeeping things out of the way. First and foremost, I am Naderah. If you're just new here, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at @Iam_Naderah on Instagram and TikTok. And please follow the show at Glitz and _Ghetto on Instagram. We post all of our clips there. And we want you guys to keep up with all the things that are happening inside of the show. And we want to hear from you guys. So please shoot us an email so that we understand what your concerns are for the entertainment industry. We can understand what it is that you guys need, what you guys want to know. And I got some really good feedback. And so today's episode's definitely going to tap into a lot of those things. However, if you have any concerns or any specific topics that you want us to discuss with you, please shoot us an email at the email address that is on the screen or visit us at Glitz and Ghetto. That's Glitz and GHETTEAUX at gmail.com so that we can hear from you guys and that we can make sure that we are addressing all of the concerns that you all have. All right. Now that we have that housekeeping out of the way, let's also remember that if you're following this show on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And then if you're on Spotify or Apple, please make sure you are following the show as well as give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. We definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Sound off in the comments. Shout out to all my friends and family who have been keeping up with the podcast and sharing the podcast and leaving us some really great reviews. It's definitely helping our show. And I'm so thankful for that. All right. So you guys, I've been very, very busy. This past week, and actually right now I'm in Atlanta, Georgia for a couple different things. Not only do y'all know my heart resides here, but I'm also in the process of just like elevating my platform and just doing things a little bit differently than what I have historically in my career. Now, granted, I started in this industry as a talent, and that is something that I will always pursue because it is my passion. But I'm also getting older. I just celebrated my 37th birthday, and I'm just like, my bones hurt. My back and my hips hurt. And there's so many other things that, I can do inside of this industry, especially because I have a strong business acumen and all of the relationships that I have garnered over the last decade plus within this industry. Dang, it's been a long time. But either way, traveled to Atlanta to do a couple things, and all these things are within my wheelhouse of passion, which is obviously the world of HBCU, which is historically Black colleges and university. Those of you who know me know that I graduated from the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, where I got my degree in accounting. And so everything that I do outside of the commercial industry and the impact that I like to have is within the world of HBCU marching band and dance line, specifically where my cultural curation comes in the form of HBCU dance. So this year, I think I mentioned this in the last episode, a lot of what I've been doing over the past couple years in terms of like staying booked and busy and utilizing my talent and my presence is by way of the sorority that I pledged while I was at my HBCU. I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm a financial member, as I stated on the last episode. And so a lot of the work that I have been doing within the community as well as a performing artist has been as a Delta. So I'm speaking to students, I'm speaking on behalf of HBCUs, I'm talking about my HBCU experience through my sorority, as well as highlighting HBCU dance. So that brought me to Atlanta this week, where I was able to attend the HBCU Aware Fest, which is a huge conference that has been existing for the last 5 years, where they brought in different artists and performers. They have fireside chats and just a couple different fundraising events throughout the weekend, or the week actually, to raise money to go back to students at HBCUs. As you guys know, The current administration is not really like a fan of HBCUs. They really are trying to eradicate DEI and a lot of things that are happening at HBCU, specifically at my university, which I'm not very happy about. It just seems like there's a bit of an infiltration from the other side that are trying to do things to take down our prestigious universities that have developed some of the best Black professionals that this world has to offer. So, HBCU Aware Fest was a huge fundraiser where I initially came down here as a talent, but it ended up unfolding into something very different, which, and back in the day, I would have been disappointed that I didn't get on stage to perform because I came down here to perform and I actually gave up another HBCU performance. In New York City in order to do the job down here. But I digress. Everything happens for a reason. In addition to the HBCU Aware Fest that was happening, I didn't get to perform, but I definitely used that opportunity to make some really impactful and deep connections. And when I tell y'all that room was full of people, maybe my Rolodex filled up even more. I got a lot more followers. I started following more influential people. And it was great because those people are also from the world of HBCU. So they understand my plight and what it is my mission is, and coming from the similar background of a HBCU, even though we may have attended obviously very different HBCUs. There are 107 of us in the United States. I also came in town to participate in the HBCU Auxiliary and Dance Directors Conference, which is also an association with the HBCU Band Directors Consortium. And this is a conference where band directors and dance directors or auxiliary directors from HBCUs come together. They utilize resources, they share content, they have all-star dancers and auxiliary members that present on behalf of their institutions. And just a plethora of information is shared. And so I have been with HBCU AD since its inception 5 years ago. And so it was really exciting to be inside of the room again. Truthfully, I have always hosted the end of the conference performance that happens on Friday nights. And for whatever reason this year, when I walked inside, they were so excited to see me because this was the first year that they hadn't booked me to speak on a panel or to host the end of the conference performance that happens on Friday. And so, of course, I was a little disappointed, but I'm loyal to the soil. So whether I'm performing or not, I'm always going to use an opportunity to still show up and support the causes that I find paramount. But also, when I walked in, shout out to my soror Ray, she like fell to the floor. She said, I'm never denouncing Delta because we needed a host for today. And here you are, Naderah. My soror came through for me. And I said, listen, Ray, I'm always going to be here. Unless I'm on tour or booked on another job, I will forever and always be here to serve and to participate as a member of the collective. Even though I was not able to dance at my HBCU, I love HBCU dance. And if you look at the thread of the most influential things and impactful things that I did in my commercial dance career, it all ties back to HBCUs and HBCU dance, sorority life, etc. So I was very happy to not only participate in some of the panel discussions and classes that they were hosting, but my blowout got blown out inside of the class. I look like a crazy person, which you'll see that content on my social media. But I got my life together, put on a little bit of face. Shout out to my good sis Kayla, who let me utilize her room and her tools to kind of pull myself together, where I was able to host the performance as I always do. It makes me feel really great to make that contribution. And then also, as y'all know, I'm always going to talk about the history of HBCU dance because as a dance educator, education absolutely matters, okay? Before this weekend in Atlanta, I also had the opportunity to host the online streaming portion of the Battle in the Apple dance competition, where the director, Ty Brown, decided that he wanted the teams to emphasize on HBCU dance. So we talked about a concept of bringing different HBCU dancers into town to teach their style, to get the New York community privy to that style. And so he connected them with different HBCU teams, and the teams in New York City were able to emulate the style of the team or the HBCU dance team that they were assigned to. So it was a really fun and exciting experience. I definitely was able to get on my microphone and talk about the history of HBCU dance and just really provide context and history, because a lot of times that's happening inside of HBCU dance is that people are not providing context and they are calling it something that it is not. And I will die on this hill, just like I wore the shirt to the event that day that says, please do not call me Majorette. I HBCU dance, because majorettes whirl batons. Either way, that's not what this episode is about. If you want to hear about that, I do have another episode from this season where I talk about the history of HBCU dance honoring Black history. So go ahead and check that episode out and you'll get much more details on that. But I say all of that to say all of the events that I attended and that I've been a part of this weekend and this month really of March were in reference to HBCUs, HBCU dance, HBCU marching band, where I was able to host and, really utilize my talent inside of that regard. Many of you might be wondering, like, Naderah, how do I even get into things like that? Yes, you started as a dancer. Yes, you've done some acting and you've done some shows and things of that nature, but how are you stepping into this new way of being? And ultimately, all of these things came about based on relationships. And today's episode is not only going to just talk about relationships, but like how do you develop those relationships and how do you actually get into the room to build those relationships, which we're emphasizing on in the room etiquette, how to conduct yourself. Okay. And so when it came to HBCU Aware Fest, I was introduced to my really good girlfriend, Kayla. She's an amazing dancer from Milwaukee, and she is very much like me, where she attended the HBCU. She was a studio girly. She trained in all the most formal styles of dance, but she also went into the commercial dance industry, and she just killed it. She choreographed for some of the greatest people. She's danced with some of the most amazing artists, and we just continued to cross paths. But when it came down to it, my sister is also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, so we're part of the Divine Nine family. We both share passion for HBCU dance, and she's doing some amazing things inside of the world. So she was contacted to help coordinate and creative on the creative team for HBCU Aware Fest, and they were in need of sorority members, active financial sorority members to be able to participate inside of this performance. And of course, because we have this ongoing long-term relationship with each other, she reached out to me and said, "Hey sis, I need some deltas. Can you call some people? Can you help me out? Are you available?" And absolutely I was. So I definitely came down to help facilitate that with her. And like I said, even though it ended up not ending in me being on the stage performing, I still was able to use that opportunity to network with some really amazing people, which y'all, I connected with like historical figures. Okay. It's just, I'm floored. Okay. In addition to that, Battle in the Apple, I was able to meet the director of the Brooklyn United dance team who hosts Battle in the Apple by way of the relationship that I had with Don Roberts, touring on Drumline Live. Don Roberts has a relationship with him, and when Ty Brown was in need of some different resources, he was pointed in my direction where I was able to build that relationship with him and express to him the desire to be a host and to push this platform, which, I'm really against calling HBCU dance majorette. And so that definitely falls into what it is that he does with his drumline and his dance line based in New York City. And then we go over to HBCU Ad because of all of the work that I had done commercially as well as hosting on the sidelines for ESPN and The Undefeated. I was able to meet all these different band directors and dance coaches, and I came out with a segment that went really, really great on Snapchat for the platform or for the network, where we were highlighting the HBCU dance line that caught my eye. And so because I come from the world of commercial of foundational dance styles and ballet, jazz, tap, Horton, lyrical, you name it, I had a reference of dance techniques and terminologies that a lot of these directors of auxiliary teams really respected. And so I was able to build relationships with people like Sean Zachary, who is the founder of HBCU Ad. And then here we are 5 years later, where I'm still being contacted to come out and host on their behalf and represent the organization. And so how do these things actually happen? How are you able to even get inside of a room to build these relationships? And I also want to talk about why it is important to build relationships because, as I told you guys before, last year, 2025, was a year. Okay. When I tell you I did not work as much as I was accustomed to, I think I had 2 commercial jobs last year. And then I did some like smaller gigs throughout the community, which this year I've put more value on it just because it is focused on my greater goal and what it is that I'm trying to do. But like, how do you continue to survive inside of this industry and go on from one job to the next if you don't have relationships? Relationships are probably the most important thing because relationships are what are going to get you from one job to the next. A lot of times people are keeping their circles as small as they possibly can and they're only working with their friends. And there's this thing that happens in the industry where I've heard dancers complain about choreographers only using the same dancers over and over again. And what happens is that time is money inside of the industry, and you want to build with people who you trust are going to be able to facilitate what it is that you're doing in the most professional sense, in the most time effective and efficient manner, because these projects are expensive. Having artists on set are expensive. Lighting, the set design, writers, directors, screenwriters, like all these people are all on set at all these times, and it costs money every hour to have these people there. So when you talk about people sticking with their team, even when it comes to reality TV shows, you need effective team members that are going to get the job done. And the way that you know that you have an effective team member is by building an impactful relationship with them. Okay. And how do you even get to the place where you're building a relationship with people if you're just getting started inside of the industry? Okay. So, one of the first things that you're going to do in the industry is you're going to be aware of all of the auditions and cattle calls that are happening. Before you get signed to an agent, your agent wants to know that you got talent and that you're bookable. Because to be fair, it's a lot of people that have dreams and aspirations of being in this industry. And guess what? Everybody's not going to make it. That's just the sad truth. Everybody's not gonna make it. Everybody's not gonna have the career of a lifetime. And I don't mean to call my girl out right now, but this person, I adore her to the moon and back. But she is the pinnacle, the epitome of like, she's like the Beyonce of the dance world, if you ask me. Okay. Her name is Cecilia Robinson. She goes from job to job to job to job, and she's a hot commodity, and everybody's not going to be like her. Even some of the best dancers, even some of my favorite dancers that I grew up with are not at the same level as her. And that's okay. That's okay. Everybody's path is going to be different. And so when I talk about how do you get started inside of this industry, you're going to look at the different posts that are on social media. You're going to look, you're going to follow casting directors. You're going to follow those casting pages. Find them in your local area. Get to a city where you know that they are casting different projects. You need to be in the LAs. You need to be in Atlanta. You need to be in New York City. There are some jobs that come to cities like Charlotte and Miami and sometimes Houston and things of those nature, but those are going to be far and few between. You want to go to a hub where you're in the middle of the action and people are actually casting talent on a regular basis. And if you're not going to be in those cities, you need to follow those pages that are casting people in those areas so that you are able to see those casting calls and you can put yourself up for those auditions. Okay. There are also websites like Actors Access. There's also equity websites that you can go on to, Playbill, if you want to do live stage performances. There are a lot of auditions that are posted online, and I'll be sure to provide you guys with some additional resources. But you want to make sure that you can get inside of these rooms on a cattle call level before you're even invited to a private audition. Private auditions often happen for people who are specially invited, whether they have management or agency representation. But yeah, everybody doesn't have that when you first start inside of the industry. And so the way to get to the point where you have that agency or management representation is that you have to get some scores on the board. You got to get some credits on your resume, okay? Doing those jobs that are for exposure, even if it's like a local artist performing at a big performance, like an opening for a concert, whether it be a festival that is well known, you definitely want to do those things as well. You got to get some points on the board. A lot of people talk about, oh, I don't want to work for exposure, but sometimes things are for exposure. And if I could be transparent, the job opportunity that came from HBCU AwareFest was not paid. I was donating my time as an in-kind donation for this fundraiser. Okay. My rate to perform on a platform at minimum with no rehearsal is $1,500. Okay. That's bare minimum. And so that is my in-kind donation for my services. Of course, I didn't get on stage to perform, which is fine. I still was able to maximize that opportunity. And you have to think about what that looks like for you as well. So, once you have these auditions and you get inside of the room, there is a particular etiquette that you need to maintain in order to stay inside of these rooms and be invited back to other rooms where other professionals who may have worked with you before want to work with you again. Okay. So, one of the first things that we want to talk about in the room etiquette, what is the room? So the room initially is an audition or private call because, like I said, they're not really doing cattle calls for major artists. And if it is a cattle call for a major artist, it's probably just publicity. I remember one time inside of my career, there was this open cattle call for Missy Elliott. And I stayed all the way to the end and I was so excited. And then a documentary came out about it. I didn't book the job or whatever, but it was just like marketing for her. There was also another opportunity that I didn't go up for, but I remember when Janet Jackson did this like huge cattle call and she was having all these auditions all over the place for people to come and perform. Marketing. Okay. Nobody made it from those auditions. And if they did make it from those auditions, I can guarantee you that it was some inside call from an agency that, okay, your talent needs to be there for the optics of things. And we just keeping it real. Okay, I hope I don't go to get in trouble for saying that out loud, but I'm just telling y'all the truth. Okay? A lot of these cattle calls for major artists and things of that nature is just a marketing ploy. And if you do get selected from it, like you had to be exceptional. And there's probably an agent there that's also going to represent you. And then that can work, however you like it to. So the room is those auditions, those private calls for movies, TV shows, live stage productions, etc. Those rooms are also production meetings. So once you actually get the job, what side are you working on? Because this podcast is not only talking to talent, it's also talking to those individuals who work behind the scenes. So those production meetings are going to be the room for you. For those of us who are talent and off screen and off stage, those table rooms, table reads, rehearsals, on set of a live film or TV show. Okay. And rehearsal on stage at the theater. Those are all the room. And these are the places where the decision makers are. And I'm talking about choreographers, directors, producers. These are the rooms that people want to be inside of because these people have the power to hire and fire you. Okay. They're going to see how your work ethic is. They're going to see how you show up to work every single day. They're going to see how you carry yourself inside of the room. Can they depend on you? Are you reliable? Are you time efficient? Are you effective? Those are the rooms. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the do's and don'ts inside of the room, okay? So one of the very first do's that I want to talk about is be on time. And I'm talking specifically right now to my POC, my people of color. We can be tardy. And I know we make a joke about it. We got CP time and Latin people time. And I know my Nigerian brothers and sisters, y'all like to show up 2 and 3 hours late after a function. Don't bring that into the industry because if the call time is 5 a.m., they expect you to be there at 5 a.m. Because just because your call time was at 5 a.m. doesn't mean somebody else wasn't there at 3 setting up so that you could be there on time so that the production day can go smoothly. That applies to auditions as well. Listen, yes, there's some times where you get a holding room, you can put your things down and they come and call you into the audition room moments later. You still want to make sure that you're on time because, baby, guess what? The audition's going to go on with or without you. Okay. And if there is an instance, because I too have been a victim of this where like I got off work and I was in traffic and I needed to get to this audition because a lot of us artists who are working professional artists are also working in our survival jobs on the outside. Last year, that's all I did. I worked on the outside and then I was still pursuing my entertainment endeavors on the inside of the industry. And so, yes, I had a job that I got out of a little bit late. I made it to my audition 5 minutes after it had started. Was I embarrassed to walk inside the room? Absolutely, because I'm on time for my job. I might show up late to the party. I might be tardy for the party, but I'm going to show up on time to my job because this is what I'm passionate about. And I want people to know that I am a professional. Your time is important to me. My time is important to me, and I'm not going to waste it. Okay. So you want to be on time. And if you're going to be late, like I was that one audition or whatever, you come into the room silently, you catch the step. Don't be the person loud asking all these questions, asking people to go backwards for you. That doesn't work. Also, if you're going to be late, let your agent know. Let the casting director know. Let people know that you're going to be late because now they're looking for you, especially if you have an appointment. Why aren't you here on time? Now they feel like they don't want to hire you for the job because you didn't let anybody know that you were going to be late. You didn't let anybody know what was happening inside of your situation and you seem unreliable. Nobody wants to work with someone that is unreliable, not in the creative industry and not in the corporate industry either. So make sure that you are on time. That's to rehearsal, that's to the audition, that's to the day of set for filming, or if you have a live stage performance, be on time. Being timely and being time efficient is important. And when I say be on time, it's not only just arriving, but if you're given a certain amount of time, if you're on tour and you're giving a certain amount of time to prepare for the show. When I was on tour with Mrs. Doubtfire, the first national tour, we didn't have to be to the theater until 30 minutes from curtain call. The curtain call is the curtain call, and the curtain's going to go up. If the show starts at 7 and the doors open at 6, you need to be to the theater by 6:30, which means it gives you 30 minutes to do your hair, your makeup, and all those things. Put your microphone on, get in costume, stretch, warm up, and do what you need to do. Now, production's not going to micromanage you, but you need to be on time. Otherwise, you're going to get a demerit, you're going to get a pay cut. And too many of those get you fired from a job. And I've been there and I've seen people get fired on stage and off stage. Okay? So be timely. Get your hair done in time. Warm up in time. Do your makeup in time. Get into wigs in time. Be timely because everybody's working on a regimented schedule and nobody wants to wait for you. Okay? So be timely. The next do is come in looking presentable. Have a look. Okay? This is important whether you are in class, an audition, rehearsal. You need to look like something. This industry is so superficial. What you look like absolutely matters. You have never seen me get on this podcast without hair and makeup. This is not TikTok where everybody's okay with seeing you in your bonnet laying in your bed with crust in your eyes. That's not what this industry is. It's very fickle, it's very superficial, and people care about what you look like. I remember when I first started in the industry, like showing up to the dance studio, my agent would be like, "You don't know who I have up here. You don't know who I'm meeting with." And if I come out of a meeting with them and they stop by the window to see who's in class dancing, they could book you for a job. And in fact, I did book a job because I looked great based on what somebody saw inside of the window. They didn't care about what my talent was. They saw that my hair was laid, my makeup was done, my outfit was cute. I had a little booty cheek showing out because, it was a heels class. You know how the girls dress in heels class. But I had the physique and I got booked for a job. What you look like absolutely matters. When it comes to auditions, dress for the job. Again, I'm going to say dress for the job. Do the job for the casting director. So if you're going into a show where you're auditioning for, I don't know, something that's set in the 90s, like a Hell's Kitchen or something. Look like that. You need to look like the 90s, the girls in the 90s. Where were the baggy pants? Did you have, the boxers on with the heavy waistband? What was your sports bra like? Do you have an oversized shirt? What does that look like? Look presentable and have a look. When I auditioned for The Color Purple, we had to wear all black to the audition. I did a reel about this on my Instagram. I looked like that era of the 1930s and 40s where it was set in all black. I did the job for casting. Okay. The same thing applies if you're going to a red carpet event, a networking event. The same thing applies if you're going to rehearsal. And what I will say for rehearsal purposes, when in doubt, black it out. We're all black. Just wear all black just to be safe. Now, if you get there and everybody else is in it all black, then you can switch it up the next day. But when in doubt, just black it out. And I'm going to talk about this as well. Last year, I did the VMAs, and I was doing that job as a singer dancer. And no one had sent out specifications of like what we were supposed to wear. But in my mind, I knew that like black is the standard. And so I walked in there, like I came to rehearsal. I had on some black pants, but I had on like a green top. But I had a friend who had an extra black shirt that I could wear. So I ended up wearing her black shirt, but I learned that lesson all over again because, Naderah, you know better. When in doubt, black it out. Even if they don't say so, just come in all black just in case when it comes to rehearsal. And then if everything is different, then you can switch it up accordingly. But when in doubt, black it out. Come prepared. Another do is to come prepared. And this is for everyone. You need to have whatever shoes that are necessary. Ballet shoes, tap shoes, your Laducas or your commercial dance heels. You never know what the choreography is going to ask for. So just come prepared with all those things. You need your hair. Do you need to retouch your hair? Have your flat iron inside of your bag. Sometimes these auditions and rehearsals go for hours. And you want to always come in looking fresh. You don't want to be the person that's all like sweaty and nasty and looking like beat up. Because guess what? When you're doing a show of 3-4 hours, the lights on stage are hot. They want to know that you're going to look good throughout that entire performance. Be prepared. Makeup. You're going to need to retouch your makeup in between rehearsals. And I know that people don't talk about this enough, but if you're a dancer specifically, or even an actor, they're filming throughout the rehearsal process just to document the progress of it. Not for like usage outside, but you don't know who's going to see that footage. You want to have that makeup ready so that you can retouch in between takes. And specifically when I'm talking to my dancers, if you've ever been in the room with an artist, the artists don't come to rehearsal at the beginning. They usually come somewhere to the middle of the day or closer to the end, okay? Even the biggest artists on the planet, okay? And some artists who work really, really hard, and y'all know I work with some artists or a artist specifically, that she works hard and the evidence is there. Okay. But they come in and they want to get footage of the experience because they have to study the rehearsal. They want to see what those things look like, even when they're not there working on other things in transit to whatever. You don't want to look like the busted person on camera. Retouch your makeup. The cameras are going to show up. Everybody got a camera on their phone every single day. So you just don't know when you're going to be filmed. So have that makeup be prepared. And this is for everybody, guys and gals. Your hygiene. Please have a toiletry bag. In these 8 to 12-hour rehearsals, you're dancing, you're sweating, you're getting icky and sticky and all those things. Nobody wants to be dancing next to the wet, smelly dancer. Have a change of clothes. My ladies, hygiene, have an extra pair of panties with you. Okay, bring your deodorant, bring your body sprays, have a little extra towel to wipe yourself down. Be prepared with all those things. And this is for everyone, my actors, my dancers, my singers, etc. Have tools and things that you can take notes with, okay? It's okay to have your phone to write notes with on your app, but also sometimes that looks like you're texting and you don't want people to get the wrong impression. So have a little notebook and a pen and a paper that you can take those notes with. For my actors, when we have our scripts, you need to have that pen and that highlighter so you can highlight the things that are necessary. The director's going to give you notes. Be able to take those notes. So come prepared with all the things that you need: your water, your shoes, your hair, your makeup, your hygiene, your pens, your pencils. That was the list. Have those things. Have those things. You want to come in prepared. The shoes, all those things. Have that. Also, another do: positive energy. Everybody's in a high pressure situation. You worked all your life to get to work with the ultimate artist that you've always wanted to work with. Come in and be thankful and grateful for that. Okay. There's so many different moving parts. The last thing we need inside of the room is someone's negative energy bringing it down. We know life is life and everybody's dealing with something a little different. Okay. But you want to leave that noise outside of the room. Leave it out. Come in with a positive, refreshed energy, even if you're having issues with someone on that team. Handle that discrepancy outside of the room. Handle it in an email, handle it in a phone call, talk to your agent, talk to your union rep, whatever. But when you get on set, when you're inside of that audition room, when you're inside of that rehearsal, leave the negativity outside. Nobody has time for that. We got work to do and we got limited time to get it done. So make sure you have that positive energy. And I'm going to say, especially when you're working with the artist, because artists have very sensitive energy. Any slightest energy shift can throw them off. Or even if they come into the room with a diva attitude, it's not your responsibility to meet them back with that same energy. It's your responsibility to keep them kind, because guess what? They're the person that's paying the bills. It's almost like your mother. If your mama got an attitude, you can't have no attitude back with her because she pay the bills. Well, some of y'all, I don't know how y'all act with your mamas, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, just make sure that you have positive energy, okay? Be kind, be authentic. I'm going to say that last part one more time. Be authentic. We can tell when your pleasantries are performative and it's fake. Just be authentic. Like, be yourself, be kind, be cool, have positive energy, and be that, okay? That also leads into be coachable and be able to take direction. Like I said, set is moving fast. There's a lot of changes coming at everybody from different directions. Be able to take directions and be coachable, okay? Whatever that direction is, be able to do that and take it with kindness. Say yes, okay. And if you need to ask questions for clarity, ask questions for clarity. But be coachable. You want to make sure that you're able to execute whatever the changes that are happening within rehearsal or on set, etc. Those things can change at any time. There have been times where I had to learn new choreography on set 5 minutes before filming. Hey, remember that section that we did 15,000 times in rehearsal? Yeah, we're going to cut that. We're going to do this instead. Hey, remember these lines that you learned? Yeah, we're going to cut out this whole monologue section. You're just going to read these parts. You want to be coachable. You want to be able to adjust and shift at any given moment. Another do: be alert and be aware. Okay? There's this saying that we say on set, which is hurry up and wait. You could be sitting on set for 5 hours. Let's just say your call time was at 5. You went through hair and makeup, all those things, and you're done by 9 a.m. Now you're just sitting. And then 10 o'clock rolls around, 11, 12, 1, and they don't call you to set until 2 o'clock. You've been there since 5 a.m. What are you going to be doing with yourself? Sure, you can fall asleep, but also don't sleep too heavy, because once they say, hey, we need so and so to set, be up, be ready, be prepared to go. Hurry up and wait, because they're not going to wait on you all day just because they made you wait. There were other things happening that you're not privy to, that you're not a part of, that they had to get squared away so that now set is prepared and ready for you to come and do what it is that you need to do. Even when you get on set, there's going to be moments where you're standing there and they're adjusting lighting and the rigs and things of that nature. You might be standing there for 25, 30 minutes, but you better know that choreography, because once they say action, you better be able to hit that step. You better know your lines, because once they say action, you're in character. You're ready to go. Okay? You're on at all times. You're alert and you're aware and you're ready to go, no matter how long it took you to wait. Okay? What I'll also say in that hurry up and wait moment, or that energy, give yourself something to do. Always be up to something. Specifically, if you're at an audition or in your rehearsal, let me not say an audition. An audition, you don't want to be doing a whole bunch of extra stuff. You want to be alert to what they're asking you to do within the room. But if you're in a rehearsal, and let's just say, for example, the director or choreographer isn't working with your particular section or scene at the time, well, there's other things that you know that you need to be going over. There's other material that they have given you. You need to be going over that. You need to be staying warm. You need to be reading over the lines. You need to be going over the choreography, being in the back corner, doing something, being productive. Even when you're on set, like you've already done all the things, now you're backstage. Read a book, do some research, work on some content. Always be up to something, because every single moment counts. Film content if they're allowing you to film content. Okay, do some puzzles, read a book, go over lines, warm up, do your hair and makeup, because let me tell y'all something. There have been moments in my career where tech rehearsal was going slow, but the performance was later that evening. And so then eventually things speed up at some point because they ran out of time, because we're going back to that hurry up and wait idea. And now all of a sudden, oh, wait, y'all were last in the show. Now you guys are going to be show openers. Your hair not done, your makeup not done, all that sort of stuff. Well, you had all this time where you were waiting. You should have been doing something. You could have been warming up. You could have been doing your makeup. You could have done your hair, just to be prepared. Always in your hurry up and wait moments while you're on set, do something. Be up to something. Okay, even if that includes your networking, which leads to the last thing that I want you to do when you're inside of the room, which is to make meaningful connections. Those relationships that you make in the room are going to last you a lifetime, and it's going to lead to the next job, to the next job, to the next job, to the next job. Okay. One of the things that I want to point out, and I hope this person doesn't get upset with me for talking about this, but I have a relationship with this amazing choreographer. His name is Full Out Cortland. And I remember when Cortland was just a aspiring choreographer in Atlanta, and he was putting out all these concept videos. And I'm just like, hey, you from the crib, you from the hometown. Like, we dance with some of the same companies, we know a lot of the same people. You keep reaching out to everybody else. You're not reaching out to me. I want to do some of your concept videos too. Like, no, you're not like the biggest star just yet, but I believe in what it is that you do. I believe in your vision. I support that. Call me. Let me be a part of that. And he said to me, he was just like, you do, you know, you dance with Beyonce. You would never, you don't want to dance with me. I'm like, yes, the hell I would. And yes, I do. So please don't forget about me in your next video or the next project that you do. I want to be a part. I love it. I love what it is that you do. And I want to support you. I said that to him at a annual Christmas party that happens with one of the agencies here in Atlanta. And he remembered that. And the next time he called me was in the middle of the pandemic when nobody was working, and he was now choreographing for Doja Cat. This is how I booked my first award show. Okay. I booked my first award show with Doja Cat because of a conversation that I had with Cortland before he even got to that level. Which I'm also telling you, make meaningful connections inside of class, make meaningful connections at networking events, do it on set. You just don't know where that's going to lead. And of course, my interaction with him was authentic and meaningful, and it led to something far greater than I ever anticipated. I thought I was just going to be able to do a concept video and I was going to be happy with that. But I knew that I saw potential and greatness in what he was producing, and I knew it would eventually lead to something. And I just wanted to help him get there. That's it. That's all I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to be a muse and a body to say that, like, I believe in what it is your vision is, And whatever it takes to help you get there, I want to offer myself as a body in your vision. And it led to something even greater than what I ever anticipated. So, love Cortland. I hope he hears this. Make meaningful connections. Okay. Now let's talk about the don'ts, and then we're going to wrap this episode up. Okay. When you're inside of the room, obviously the opposite of, being timely is showing up late. Don't show up late. It just pisses everybody off. It puts everybody else behind schedule. It makes you look extremely unprofessional, and now people don't want to work with you. You could be the most talented person in the world, but if you're not on time, nobody will ever know and no one will ever care because you were late. You don't have respect for everybody's time. If everybody else showed up here on time, there's no excuse as to why you're late. There's no excuse. This is not a party. This is your profession. And just like you got here late, there's 10 other people who want your job that would have shown up on time. So don't show up late. The next don't is don't overstep leadership. There's a lot of people who feel like, oh my God, I'm finally inside the room. I get to make a contribution. Yes, I want to give a suggestion. Don't do that. Don't do that. If leadership wants your creative input and they open the floor for it, be my guest. Be the person who does that. But don't tell the director, the choreographer, the producer, well, I think you should. Who are you? Everybody in this room is a creative professional, and everybody worked their behinds off to get exactly where they are inside of the room. Know your role. Play your position. And I've seen this happen a couple times. It doesn't really happen that often with dancers, but I have seen a dancer do it where she was like, oh, this part of the choreography is cute, but I think it would be better if we, huh? Please don't do that. You're like interrupting someone's vision. Same thing where you're talking about a stylist. Like you could tell them, hey, this makes me feel uncomfortable or I feel unsafe inside of these things. But don't tell them, oh, I'm a stylist as well. And I think we should. That's not your role on set that day. Don't overstep. You need to focus on what it is that your role is and do that. And do it well so that you can work up to get to the position where you want to be in, whether it's the director, the choreographer, the lead stylist, executive producer, whatever that is for you. Whatever role you're in, stay in that lane, okay? Third thing, don't have a negative attitude. Do you know how privileged you are to be able to pursue your dream? There's people who have dreams and aspirations and they get deferred. Why? Because of drug usage, because of family problems, because of financial reasons. And you have the nerve to have a negative attitude and come into the room and complain as if you're not living your dream and someone else's as well. And I'm going to say this is a PSA to all my dancers because obviously I'm a dancer first. When we get on set, it's just like we're so excited for the job and the opportunity. And it's like the first thing dancers do when they get on set is complain. Oh, I don't like my accommodations. Oh, my hair, my costume, my bag. Oh, this is dangerous. Oh, brother. Dancers, this is a PSA to you. Stop complaining. There's a lot of things that are happening. If you're not going to provide solution, zip it. There's not something wrong with everything. Oh my God, this is so ugly. This is so tight. This is so, I don't even know what dancers complain about anymore because I just tap out. And it's like clockwork. It happens every single time, no matter what job I'm on. The first people to complain are the dancers. Please. And I think dancers probably complain for multiple reasons because we don't really get heard a lot and we're always fighting for our rights, which I believe that we should. But also, please, everything is not a reason to complain. Everything is not a reason to complain. Oh my God, these shoes are awful. Oh my God, my costume's not the fiercest one here. And oh, why don't we look as good as You're not the artist. That's why you don't look as good. You're there to highlight and enhance the artist, okay? Stop complaining. Leave your negative energy and your negative attitudes outside. Don't do it. Don't bring your beefs from something else, from another job, from a dancer you don't like, whatever. Don't bring that into the room. Don't do that. Keep your negative energy outside. When we come inside the room, we're all new characters and we're in it. Okay? Also, Don't get missing. Don't miss your cue. Unless you've told someone inside of the room that, hey, I'm going to go pop to the restroom real quick, which obviously, when you're working on different jobs, specifically those union jobs, there are mandatory breaks and things that have to happen within certain time frames. So you really don't have to do that on different union jobs. But if you're on a non-union job, like don't get missing. Okay? Even on a union job, don't get missing. Tell somebody when you have to go and use the restroom. Tell somebody when there's something else that you have to do so that they are aware of where you are, so they're not screaming on set for you when it's time to film or when it's time to say action. I remember I was doing this movie one time and one of my homegirls, I'm gonna leave her nameless, but I just remember she was like a very needed person inside of a lot of the scenes that were being filmed that day. And I don't know what happened, but she just kept getting missing. They're like, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And she took off her costume. She was walking around set inside of her pajamas because she didn't like the way it felt. And I'm just like, girl, stop getting missing. Don't be the person that gets missing, okay? Be aware, be on set, be alert, be alive. Lastly, but certainly not least, don't rush the experience. Enjoy it. This is something that you have worked for your entire life. This is something that you've dreamt about. This is something that you've always wanted to do for a very long time. So just enjoy the experience. Don't rush it. You don't know when's the next time you're going to be in rehearsal. You don't know when's the next time you're going to be on set to perform. Again, like I referenced my good girlfriend to see her at the top of the episode. Everybody don't get to go from job to job to job. Everybody not just waiting on you to be available so they can book you. Enjoy it. Embrace the moment. Make memories. And I'm not saying that she doesn't do that. So please let me put that out there. But you just want to make sure that like you embrace this experience. So don't rush it. I'm 37 years old. I had about a decade plus inside of the industry. And like when I think about all the moments that I've had inside of the industry, like I cherish all those moments. I have videos inside of my hard drive where like I was just documenting the moment because that's where the magic actually happened. What we get to do in this industry is something that is so unique because it's passion meets professionalism, you know? And so we get to build these healthy relationships. And like the dream is not just like being on the stage. Like Kiki Eli made a post recently where she talked about we always thought that the dream was the actual being on stage, but the dream is the traveling, the memories that you make on the tour bus, the memories that you make in class and rehearsal, the inside jokes that everybody gets to have, like the relationships that you build. There are productions that like I still have relationship with directors, producers, touring managers, all those people. That's where the magic is made. So don't rush the experience. At 37 years old, I have a plethora of memories, and like I could retire at any point soon and feel like destiny fulfilled. Anyway, this has been an enjoyable episode for me. I love y'all very much. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Glitz and Ghetto podcast. Um, I just hope that everybody got something valuable from this episode, understanding room etiquette and how to actually get there and what to do when you get there. Because, like I said many a times, and I'll say plenty more times to come, nobody was talking about these things when I was coming up in the industry. And there's a lot of mentoring classes that people have, but people aren't talking about the nitty gritty things that happen behind the scene and how you accomplish those things. And so the Glitz and Ghetto podcast is to expose those things for you, but to also educate you and to make sure that you have the tools you need to succeed. Because while this industry is glitz and glam, it's the things that you don't see that are glitz and ghetto. I'm your host, Naderah, and I'm signing out. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace. Damn, that took a long time.
Sheesh. Yeah. Everybody want to be in entertainment till it's time to get down to the business. Yeah. It's all smoke and mirrors. What you can't see behind our public figures. Know you convinced by the glitz and the glam, but let's talk about how it really goes down. The sleepless nights, the sacrifice, your rate of pay, the union strikes. Yeah, they want you to stay in your lane. Got too many talents, what's your claim to fame? Opportunities unlimited. Look at Naderah, that girl is living it in. She bringing out all of her friends to talk about it so you understand. They talk about all of the noise all over the blogs and in the tabloids, to teaching the industry lessons they learn. So turn up the volume so you don't get burnt. Film and TV, she does that. Theatrical, she been that. And Glitz and Ghetteaux is our podcast to show you how to achieve that. You were born to entertain, but this ain't for leisure, you came to get paid. The glitz and glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes it really is ghetto. Yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux, yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux. You were born to entertain, but this ain't for leisure, you came to get paid. The glitz and glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes it really is ghetto. Yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux, yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, it's Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux, it's Glitz and Ghetteaux. The glitz and glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes it really is